Texas Tech Red Raiders. What's good, y'all? Welcome to Seeing Scarlet. This is Sibby. I'm joined here, as always, with Shelby. And we're going to talk all things Texas Tech sports. And boy, oh boy, we got a great episode coming up for y'all. We're going to start with Texas Tech Soccer. We're going to recap their game against TCU. And I say game lightly. It was an absolute brawl, y'all. Like, if you were there, I am so jealous. I had goosebumps just watching this game, the physicality. We're going to talk about all of that, so much more. It was a wild game. There was 9 shots for both Tech and TCU. We ended up in a draw, 0-0. So we'll talk about how we got there, what led to that result for us, and why we're really stoked to come out of Fort Worth with that result and how hard they fought. We were really excited to see the team looking the way that they did. So we'll get more into that later. Then Texas Tech volleyball went 2-1 at the UTRGV tournament that included one of my favorite things about volleyball, a reverse sweep, y'all. They just having that grit coming back 3 sets. That's huge. So we'll talk about those results with volleyball. And then we'll talk a little bit about some fun things coming up for Texas Tech soccer and softball. We got some verbal commits. We got some signees joining those teams. And so we'll talk about those future future Red Raiders here in a bit. And all of that will be wrapped with Texas Tech football. Got us feeling so good again, y'all. They went out there and did the damn
thing.
My goodness. So yeah, they destroyed North Texas, and we'll talk about those highlights too. So lots to get through. Let's kick it off with soccer, y'all. TCU, Fort Worth. This feels like a new, I guess it's always been a rivalry, but it feels really fun to have this type of rivalry that we have with TCU soccer. And I don't know what happened, gals. Was there like a pregame of, we're going to go out there and this match is going to be nuts? It was like a movie. It was energetic. It was so physical. I mean, if you watch the whole game, it is just, there's a body over there. Someone's on the floor here. Someone's checking here, contest after contest. It was wild to watch. I think that's what you and I were texting about for the most of the first quarter of the game.
Yeah, it was intense. I don't remember. I mean, it's definitely the most intense game we've had all year.
Yeah.
For sure. Like, there was just a different intensity. And maybe it's because we have a lot of people from Dallas. They know the intensity of that game. But also, there's a history there with TCU. We always play TCU. These games are always very physical. They're always very intense. Last year was a similar game. We just found a way to scratch through that late goal. It was 1-0 win there, and they were battling at the end. It almost had a goal at the end. So similar games, really. And then I think 2 years ago, a 0-0 draw in Fort Worth. Like, they're always pretty insane. But I do think some people, like, we talked about, like, will this be like the first ever Texas Tech or in a while where there's like an offensive outburst? And both teams had their chances, and we'll talk about that and show the highlights. But the defense for both sides in the final third was just really impressive for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was just immensely impressed by what we did. I'm sure they wanted the 3 points. I know they did. I'd be interested to hear from them, like, exactly. I guess you listened to the post-game press conference from Tom, so I guess you can speak to that a little bit. But I was impressed. I think when you go on the road, I think, the whole saying in soccer is like, you never apologize for getting points on the road in soccer. And so I'm not going to apologize for it. I thought, especially towards the end, TCU was just thumping them in there towards the end, and we were just fighting them
They were
off.
knocking at the door.
There was some crazy tackling, and the refs were letting it go, and then they weren't letting it go. We had 3 yellows. I thought TCU could have had at least 2 yellows. Like, it was a physical game, and I didn't think there was anything wrong with any of the yellows. Like, there were nothing egregious, but they did what they did. But the tackling was so good.
Yeah.
Like, Peyton, we have a clip from Peyton Annan in here that was, she tackled it and then saved a corner kick just to level and I hope everybody's okay. I know she had to leave that match under her own power, but she did leave. I hope everyone's okay and healthy to play on Thursday for another Big 12 game. But yeah, Faith was amazing. You'll see that in the highlights. Just her. You've heard Tom joke about it a couple of games ago in a post-game presser. He's like, yeah, I don't normally talk about our goalkeeper's 40 time, but with Faith, we talk about her 40 time, and that's why she's out there. And you really saw that in this game, and you'll see that in the highlights where she only has 1 save in the box score, but she had a lot of saves where she ran out and slid down
off
and
the
scooped
line.
it up before they could shoot it, and so it doesn't count. But it was, I mean, if you're not as fast as Faith, most keepers cannot do that. They cannot get to that, and they're gonna have to sit back there and make the save. And she said, "No, I'm just gonna go take it off your foot before you can even
And
anything
that
funky can happen."
confidence.
And yeah, so Faith was on it. Everybody was just focused. The intensity. I mean, I have family in town this week, and so they had to watch the sporting event with me, which they're used to, me being crazy, but they don't watch a lot of soccer, and they were just, my mom was just like, I hate soccer. This is horrible. It's so intense, and then there's no,
She
they don't
changed her
even
mind?
score out of this. Well, no, like not like hate it as in not enjoy it, but just because it's
It's a
that
lot
game.
to
Like
ask of your
you're
heart.
doing all these things, and all
Mhm.
these things are going great, and then you don't score. Like it was just making her mad.
That's
But
the game.
it was hype. So I was jumping all over the place. There was a few moments where
You
we
could.
almost scored, and I was just proud of them to get out of
Mhm.
there, because not only did you like get a point, TCU, who's picked to finish third in the conference, so one of the top teams, did not get 3 points on their home field, which in my opinion, if you go look at the past track record of the Big 12, which is a lot of new teams and all that, so we're gonna have to reformulate the formula, if you will, and see how it goes from here on out. But if you look at it, typically the Big 12 champion or the top couple teams have been teams that have taken care of business at home and gotten some draws, couple wins on the road. They've stolen some points on the road. So we're on track to do that, right? Now we can go home on Thursday and take care of business. But I was proud of them. I'm sure there's a couple of scoring opportunities, but credit TCU, they made saves. But our defense, I don't know what they what they were on, like you said. But that was impressive stuff. That was Texas Tech soccer defense. Not that they've been bad this year, but like that was like they were on something. I like it.
I know. It's like it's the times that I wish I was just a fly on the wall and like, what was the pregame like? Because you're right. I think this was one of the first matches, which is kind of nice to like see this level of competition so early on. We're playing TCU early. We're learning a lot early, and we were also given a string of challenges early in our season. So it just feels like a roller coaster ride that's not stopping anytime soon. But this energy, we had great looks on our side with Taylor, of course, Shadruski. She had 5 shots, 2 on goal, so she was doing what she normally does. Caitlin Giametta had 2 shots, and Peyton and Ashley had a shot and a shot on goal, both to their credit. And it's just we got to get into these highlights. We got to see what we're talking about. And I feel like even showing these brief highlights, you'll see some of this energy that we're talking about in the physicality. And then we got that separate one of Peyton that just really sums up this game so well and that effort. Yeah, so let's go ahead and get into it. But yeah, love it seeing our defense show up big time. That was huge. And you're going to see some of the offensive looks too that we had. That
for an angled across, it's cut off.
This is Seven Castaigne, who's one of the best forwards in the conference for sure.
Yeah, and I think like that's another thing to note here is this TCU team is really good. Like, and they had an injury to a player kind of later on that had a huge impact to the game too. And yeah, I don't think that can be stated enough. This was a battle of 2 really good programs historically, and just a fun matchup all around, and the hype was real. So I'm glad your family got to see that too, Shelby. And
yeah,
your mom, hey, come, it's fun over here. You come on. Soccer all the time, loving it, hating it. It's just all part of it. But yeah, you see this first show out from Faith. But TCU beating through our line.
It gives it off.
Being quick on her feet. Tom Stones talked about it.
That was an easy save, really.
Castaigne gives it out wide.
Another look here, too.
That's what we were talking about with that 40 time. I mean, that doesn't count as a save, but that's a save. Like, they're going to get in there and take a good shot, and she just said, no, you're not. So you'll see in these highlights, in my opinion, I think TCU had 60% of the possession, according to Sibby's recap article on the website. Go read it.
Right.
But I thought our chances were more dangerous because of stuff like this. Our back line, or Faith herself, were stopping their chances before they had a chance to really get the shot off a lot of the times with plays like this. So I was just really impressed with what that group did. The whole team, full team defense, but especially that back group was really impressive.
And this is something that like I want to ask goalkeepers, and I should have asked when we talked to Madison White last year, but to see what is the time frame of her decision, of Faith's decision to run off the line and gobble up this ball? Like, she's so quick, she's able to measure that, and then the spacing of the ball, and to see how many times she's making that decision. It's like, damn, that confidence of, I'm not going to leave it to chance. I'm going to take care of business right now. Look how far she is. And like a sliding save. She was going to be perfectly timed no matter what. It's awesome to see from Faith.
It reminds me of when we did talk to Madison White. The interview exists, y'all. Go find it on YouTube.
Oh, it's
page.
so
And
good.
If you're not, by the way, subscribe, because what are we doing?
Please.
But yeah, she talked about how practice is like meant. I remember this discussion. Now that you say this, we talked about how it's good to mess up in practice. In fact, they push themselves to the point of messing up. So she would like push herself to how far over in this goal can I be and still dive to get this shot. And so, like, because she's so long and tall, and that was her thing, is like she can just cover the entire net, right? Faith she can jump up there and make saves like that too. But Faith's thing is she has elite speed for a keeper, so she's probably in practice. She's probably doing that, some variation of that. It'd be fun to talk to her where she's like, okay, how far away,
right,
is that ball need to be where I can go get it? Like, she's probably practiced those things, or she's messed up in practice sometimes, or she took off too late, or it was too far, and so. That is interesting. It's just something that they have to. Everyone has their own skills.
for.
So yeah, it's fun to watch her. But she is. I remember Tom saying that in the press conference, and we hadn't really seen it yet. But boy, did we see it today!
Oh my god! And like, what a game to show up for from the UCLA.
Yeah, we're gonna
transfer.
need that. We're gonna need that. There's some really good offensive teams.
Elise Anderson. This
Peyton Parsons.
Dude.
Peyton Parsons. That was all that space she created. That was probably one of our best chances. You know. Credit the keeper from TCU. That was good stuff. I think if Peyton had got a little bit more on that, but the work she did to create space there was impressive. She's been good at that all year.
Yeah, I think we get a pretty good look from it here. But you can see Elise Anderson on this outside just cooking as she does.
Ashley might tap it over to her, but
yeah, Ashley trying to find the positioning too. But yeah, that's a shot that Peyton Parsons is able to bury.
Yeah,
and
you'll take that all day.
When you see that ricochet off that keeper, it's like, that ball was hit hard. So business as usual for Peyton Parsons. It was almost like she scores here, kind of feeling, because we've seen it so many times this season. But see that ricochet and seeing Ashley prepared for that, I think was also nice. Even though she wasn't able to get that connection fully, she was at the right place, just like a hair off the wrong time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it was a good play by the TCU.
It was great.
So
yeah,
credit her. She's really good.
Yeah. So Molly here trying to get this ball cleared. TCU taking advantage of that error. I mean,
this is super Faith again. Comes up here and gets it. Yep.
Of course. Yo, like
super speed.
That is so. What is your decision making? Like, that is so quick to have that ball linger so close for so long. Knowing that she swarmed by the Horned Frogs. Just Faith Wynn being Faith Wynn.
Oh, this is a nice little Macy moment, doing what she does. Good pass over. Get a corner out of it.
Yeah, getting that.
We had moments where, I mean, TCU held possession and they kind of turned us over quite a bit in the midfield, but when we got it going, we created good moments like this. Oh,
I clicked on the wrong part there, and I'm.
Here we go. Oh, you're there.
Yep.
This was
a nice move.
Chloe and Elise. I like that. There was a lot of good combo play in this.
There was,
from a couple of players that they're creating good moments.
Good give and go moments too. We talked about Caitlin Giametto. You'll see another look from her too here in these clips. But yeah, a lot of that shared passing looked a lot better.
There's that one where she almost hesitated. She almost second guessed herself.
I mean,
talking about, but she still got there.
Right?
She still got there.
I want to rewind it back because it's just so good to see for another time. But yeah,
she was almost like, ooh, nope, I can do it. I'm fast enough.
Yeah, that confidence though. We're gonna.
Yeah, that was. I mean,
here.
If you let her, if you don't, you're in trouble if you don't go get that because you're stuck out there.
And like that maybe is a note for her to not second guess yourself, Faith. Like, you got this.
Oh yeah, believe it. This game was
Elise
so
Anderson.
physical. Did you just see that? Just get murdered, poor Elise. And then there's a girl at the top of the box for TCU just laying on the ground, and then there's two more down there.
Was that Taylor
insane,
with the slide
y'all.
tackle? Like,
this
just
game
doing
was
whatever
so
they can.
Physical.
Oh my gosh, it's so real.
Yeah, Tom talks about that goal, this goal right here in the
There's
press.
a TCU player at the top. top of the box. On the
Yeah, they're everywhere. But Tom talked about that goal because he was like, that was probably one of their best chances, and it hit the post. And so TCU's might be saying, he didn't say this, but I'm saying TCU might be saying, hey, if we just not hit the post on that, we win.
Right.
But as he talks about, and it's true if you go back and watch it, there was nowhere else for her to shoot that because of the way, is that Molly?
How she was positioned. I think that's
Molly.
Taylor with the slide tackle here.
Oh, that's Peyton Annan.
Oh, it's
Of
Peyton
course it's
Annan.
Peyton Annan. Peyton Annan, we're going to show you a clip of Peyton Annan, MVP
Peyton Annan.
of that game, in my opinion. Her and Faith, I mean, it's hard to pick an MVP, but she was one of them.
Peyton
One of the
Annan
best
really
players.
I can't wait to
Her
talk more about
tackling in
her.
this game, that was Peyton Annan on that. She did
Dang,
not
that's
give them a shot. That was the only place she could put it. And if they had gotten it on goal, Faith was standing right there. She would have just stopped it. So just all night, our backline was the chemistry is getting better because we talked about the injuries. Like we can't unstate that. Macy's getting back out there. They've had different people playing together. Peyton's a transfer, and we've had different people getting injured throughout the year. And we played so many people on that back line that I would have to imagine, and I think we kind of talked about that a little bit with Madison and Kylie last year about the chemistry and how much that matters back there in Hannah when we had them on, and you're kind of seeing that this year, just taking some time. But if they can carry this in to the rest of the Big 12 play, I mean, we're going to need that. We're going to need that, right? Because we are playing down some people and some really good players. But, I mean, they're stepping up. Like, that's the Peyton Annan we thought we were getting. You know what I mean? Like, she's had good moments this year, another good but she was great the whole game.
She was really great this whole match. And it was like, oh, okay, yeah, like, we knew there was more there, and she played her heart
She did that
out.
last year at SMU against big-time teams. Like, that's what she did. So, maybe just getting back home. She's from Dallas area.
You gotta rub some dirt in it. You know?
Get her people, but she was great, and she gave everything. Like,
she really did.
I hope she's healthy and can play Thursday, but we'll see. She was giving everything she had.
Yeah, that's very true for a lot of our players. This was the
Nice.
give and go movement from Caitlin Giametta, and then to have a deflected shot was.
And then we
was
almost.
tough
I don't
to
know why
see.
that's not in the highlights, but off that corner, wasn't this the corner where? It's not in the highlights, but we get a corner off of that. And then Macy sends in a beautiful ball in, and Z gets her head on it. And I don't know if you saw it, but from where I was watching,
I was like, this is how we roll, dude. Like,
no,
5
just the
minutes
angle
left.
of the camera, it looked like it went in. And
I
was
know.
like, I jumped out of my chair, stumped my toe on my coffee table. It hurt so bad. And then I was like, wait, we didn't score. But it was another good chance. I thought we had the more dangerous chances because, like in the final third, we were doing some fun, creative stuff. We struggled a little bit in the midfield, but that's what TCU does. Their whole game is possession. That's what their whole game plan is, right? And so they kind of did what they did there. But once we got it down there, we did like this little maneuver here, a lot of good moments. I didn't see it in the highlight package, but there was that breakaway moment for Z in the middle of the field as well that came off. I think we stole it, and that was a good chance as well. So we definitely had our chances to score in this and take 3 points. But yeah, to come away, I'm happy with coming away with 1. I would have preferred 3, but we said it last week. If we go to TCU and get a draw, now that means you're going to have to eventually win some games here.
Yeah.
Like you just make yourself life a little bit harder, but not as hard as if you lost. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So
yeah,
I love it for them.
Yeah, and I love seeing the start of this kind of being from this last clip. Showing that again.
So nice.
God,
I
out of
wanted that.
knowing like where her team is. It was perfect. That was Skylar
no
there, ready for it.
hesitation. And that keeper might have saved that anyway because she was in good position, but still, like you did everything you could on that.
That was good. Great sequence. Good passing. The give and go. We love to see it. Yeah, that one was from far, far out, but it looked like it was
smart by Faith though. She dove and then she knew where she was and pulled her hands back.
Yeah.
So we got to keep the ball on that. Just high IQ goalkeeping.
That's right.
In this from Faith win, I thought.
Truly.
We got to really see her shine and show out. I don't care what the box score says. 1 save does not. That's one of those, you can't look at a box score at all and understand how physical, how intense, how really close this game was in a lot of ways. Because you can be like, oh yeah, the possession was 60-40 TCU, but again, when we had the ball, our chances were more dangerous. When they had it in our final third, our defenders just, for the most part, took away any angles or chances to even get it off. So I was really impressed and really proud of them. And now we move on to the home game. Hopefully we can get 3 points in that. You need it.
That's what I'm saying.
A salty Utah team, a new program that we haven't played. That's the other thing is like we played TCU, like we know each other so well,
right?
So now we get to play someone that doesn't
Utah.
know us
as
well, and like maybe that helps you because our system is so unique. TCU's not. They know what we're doing. They know how we play.
Yeah,
so maybe Utah, we can catch them slipping a little bit. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay.
But they're a good little soccer program. They've made it to the tournament and quite a few times, and I think they lost to Utah State. That's the only common opponent we've had yet this year. We both lost to them, but. Yeah, so I'm excited.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge game for us. So if y'all are in town, September 19th, Thursday, Texas Tech will take on Utah. We are undefeated at home. That's huge because at this point, we need to start seeing some wins. We need to
you got to take care
apply
of business
this. Got to take care of business of a home that we've been protecting for a while. So be a part of that. We're 5-2-1 overall, and yeah, we lost that game. We tied that. We lost to Utah State and Penn State. So just like a review of where we are. Yeah, it's kind of nuts to see, we're kind of approaching midseason for the Texas Tech Red Raiders and beginning Big 12 play. So much has already happened. So
the RPI came out today for anyone that cares about that. We're like 60th or something like that. So work to be done, but it kind of doesn't matter because I think they knew. I think they know what they got to do in Big 12 play. If they do what they need to in Big 12 play, that's going to get up there. So there's plenty of chances to improve the RPI.
Do you want a higher RPI number or
a lower one? Like last year when the RPI came out, because we were undefeated, we were like in the top 10 and when it came out last year.
Okay.
But we played a little bit of a harder schedule to this point than we did last year. So take care of business in the Big 12 and that'll fix itself. But yeah, it's going to be fun. It's a fun week because you have Utah at home.
Yeah.
So fans can go there, be that. And then Sunday, you're playing the number 1 team in the Big 12 right now. They're top 15 in the country, Oklahoma State, undefeated. That's one of only 4 undefeated teams are left in the country. Well, no, they have a tie on their record, so they're no longer in that group of all wins or whatever they call it. But they are one of 4 teams that haven't allowed a goal all year. So they're very defensive-minded. I don't know if they've had any big blowouts or whatever, but like they just beat Baylor 1-0. I think they got a draw with somebody maybe Texas State or someone random 0-0, but Texas State just got a draw with Baylor last night as well, so they must be a pretty solid program. But yeah, they're a very defensive-minded team, and we're going to their place. They beat Oklahoma this year. They beat a big Indiana, maybe a Big 10 team. They've had a good season. They're the highest RPI team in the Big 12. They're the highest ranked team in the Big 12 right now. That's definitely a win. If you go on the road to Oklahoma State and get a draw, there's not even a question because of their ranking that you're the underdog, and that's a win. But if you go out there and get a win for like 3 points, that's big time. But you're going to need to be on your game offensively. But maybe we can catch them slipping. We do little different things. We're not the easiest team to guard sometimes, so maybe that'll help us.
That's
but
true.
That's about all of the analysis I can give you.
I think you did a great job. Always go team. But yeah, exciting to see from them and what they'll have for Utah. Again, that's at home, so be there.
Yeah, be there on Thursday. First Big 12 game.
Yeah.
Big time.
And to add to the hype for soccer, we got some commits. We have Samantha Neves, forward from La Roca FC in Utah. She's a forward, and she'll be in this 2026 class. So this was a verbal commit that happened, this last week. We have Cooper Dick, who's a goalkeeper from Slammers FC. She's been selected as a top player, top goalkeeper of that same class, 2026. So excited for that.
Coming to the right place, Cooper.
I'm saying,
this is goalkeeper you.
I mean, dude, I think forward, and I think of wow, there are so many forwards to learn from that are just brilliant from this program.
That's true.
Goalkeeper. Wow, there are so many brilliant. It's everybody. And then our last one here, Reese Liner, a defender. I know there's so many Red Raiders that Reese can learn from. But yeah, part of the ECNL player to watch list. And she's from Dallas, Texas. So you're talking about that area is a pipeline in some ways to Texas Tech and Lubbock, and wow, they got some incredible talent coming from that area. So that's what we have to look forward to in the future for Texas Tech soccer. We'll get y'all a list of all of our commits that we have so far up to date in a recent article that we're going to put out on our website. So go check that out. That'll be seeing-scarlet.com.
Yeah, for sure. And I wonder, just throwing this out there, they probably already committed or decided, but it does make you wonder if any of the, like, if Reese was at the game
Ooh.
in Fort Worth and heard all those Raider powers. So shout out to the fans.
The Raider powers were. I was like,
It was
that's
a home
what's
game. It
up,
felt it
dude.
looked like a home game when
That's
they
how we
panned to the
roll,
crowd.
though.
Red everywhere. You could hear those Raider powers, like,
Especially towards the end. And I was
gotta
like,
be a little shot to the heart for the TCU folks. I know that was painful, but it was nice for us. I love that. So
good,
yeah, obviously we'll have it in Utah at home. So get it done.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited to watch them. This is a big week.
Is.
If we come the next time this week and I think we're at an 18-game undefeated streak now in Big 12 play, going back to 2 years now. So if we go to 19-20 this time next week, I mean, we're talking conversation has changed around Texas Tech soccer for our outcome this year. So I'm excited. Let's go do it. Big time ahead.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So stoked for soccer. We're also stoked for volleyball. Let's get into the UTRGV tournament. They first played on Thursday, and the reverse sweep, baby. You know how we do. Let's just kick it off the Red Raider way. But showing that grit. And the sites of adversity, that was huge. And then they lost to Texas A&M Corpus Christi on Friday, and then their second game in Friday against Houston Christian, they won 3-2. So overall,
played a lot of sets this
2-1
or this week.
Yeah, lots of sets were played, and some highlights to take away, and then kind of put things in perspective of what we got next, because the competition is going to continue to grow. We're going to get a taste. I think all of our sports are going to get a taste of some powerhouse names. So a very exciting week of sports coming up for us. But before we get too far ahead, let's talk about the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley.
Yeah, we'll show you those highlights as we talk about it. We don't have highlights for all three matches, but we do have highlights of them. But it was packed, as you'll see in the highlights in here. Can you pull them up?
I can get that for you.
Got it.
Thanks.
It was packed out there, and really impressed with it.
Teams have taken the court.
Maybe just don't turn the sound on. Yeah, it was really loud. It was really loud like that, and their band was there. Their cheerleaders were there. It had to be fun to play in once we got it going. Probably not much fun the first couple sets. I was watching this while watching the soccer game, and then I went back and rewatched it because there was just a lot of intensity going on. But it seemed like UTRGV was just feeding off that crowd, and they were really scrappy and couldn't really finish them in a bunch of sets. It wasn't like we were ever like far away. All the sets were pretty close, right? But they just found a way in the first two, and then we just fought back, because that's not easy to do in front of that crowd. You're already down 2-0. To come back and get that shows a lot of fight. So you love to see that. Definitely plenty to clean up that they're going to have to clean up as they get into Big 12 play if they want to make some noise. And we'll talk about some stats in a minute, but I appreciate the fight. You know, we talked last week how when they went on the road last year, they lost this type of game. They lost to UNT on the road. They lost to ACU on the road, and it's kind of similar environments, similar kind of games where things just aren't going your way and they just kind of just quit. I'm not quit's probably a strong word, but kind of like they couldn't come back to win. So I appreciate that they fought back to win this, because it was not looking great. Now again, they weren't getting blown out at any point really. They just couldn't like get over the hump in some of those sets. And even this set, they're up huge right now in the final fifth set, 11-1. But if you notice the score at the end, now all of a sudden it's 14-11. So we just get into these lulls, these stretches where we just can't, like, we're doing really well, and then we go into the opposite way. So just a little bit streaky, I guess is the word right now.
Sure. Inconsistent.
But I'm just kind of sticking with them and going game by game, match by match, and seeing how they're growing. A lot of different people played in these as well. So like Hannah has been our main setter throughout the year, but Caitlin Cochran got a lot of run this weekend. She led us in assist this week in the 3 matches. She had over 105 assists across the 3 matches, which led us, and I think she led us in all 3 of the matches actually. So she played pretty heavily in all. And then Reagan Linen, who was our MVP of the previous tournament, she didn't play quite as much in this either. So we're just getting some more people in there. But Reagan Angler got to play more, so it was good to see her getting back out there. And you just got to see a lot of new faces. Even a freshman got in there at one point when I was watching. Forget her name. I apologize, but she had an ace in the match I was watching. So I was like, all right. So we were definitely letting new faces and everybody get more playing time, if you will, and this is what you should do. And then also probably just a little bit of game management and body management, because it was crazy. I don't know if it's normal in volleyball, but if you looked at the time, they played 3 matches in less than 24 hours.
Oh my
because
gosh.
they played one at 7 p.m. on Thursday night, and then they had an 11 or a noon and a 4 p.m. game the next day.
Yeah.
So they finished their final match before their first match started the day prior.
And
That's a lot of like mileage on your jumping and stuff. So I don't know if that's normal in volleyball. I don't know, but it just felt like a lot.
And this was
to put on. So I think that's why we were playing so many different people. So it was good. And they found a way to Houston Christian game again. We dominated the first set. And we were dominating early in the second set, it felt like, and then it kind of just went downhill, and we ended up getting taken to 5 sets, which isn't ideal, not what they wanted, but they did find a way to win it.
Yeah, for real.
And they stuck with them. Like, they didn't like throw out their they were kind of letting some of the other players like get out there and play for all, and they weren't like, hey, like Hannah Bohr didn't play at all in that final match, and they didn't panic and say, Hannah, get out there. They let Caitlin keep going, and Caitlin was playing well, so it wasn't on her at all. So I thought that was big, and just to let other people get out there and do what they do, and hopefully they can learn from that. But that's kind of what I saw from what I could see. The broadcasts were a little bit shaky, like literally. So they were kind of hard to watch and glitching, and I don't know if that was on my end or if that was for everybody. So I did my best to kind of figure out what was going on and follow the stats. At one point, the stats were backwards on the broadcast as well. It was an adventure, but I appreciate that they had something for us to watch. But yeah, that's kind of what I saw. We saw Bryn Williams had a great match on Friday, or on, was that Thursday night, the UTRGV. We kind of talked about her last week. Well, she has this ability to come in and really take over, and you saw that when she's on, you know. And once she finds that consistency, she had 16 kills and a 350 hitting percentage, which is key because that's something that we've struggled with as a team this year. Our hitting percentage has been pretty low. And so when we are hitting like that, like we're pretty tough to beat, to be honest, because our defense is so solid. But so she was great, 16 kills, and then Mia just continues to be Mia. She led us with kills. Mia Wesley, 17 kills and 10 digs, a double, if you will.
Oh, I see you.
I guess that's the thing in volleyball, like it is as basketball. I'm gonna make it a thing if not. So she got to 2,000 career points in one of these matches. So shout out Mia. She got to 1,000 career digs last week in the same tournament that Maddie created. We didn't know that, or we would have mentioned it on the show, but they announced that after it. So she's racking up the accolades, and she keeps doing that, and she's one of the national leaders in a lot of things that we'll talk about. But before I get into that, I don't know if you have any thoughts, but that's kind of the gist I got. It's just certainly things to work on, but they found a way to come out of there with 2 wins, and a lot of people got to play a bit of a grueling travel down there to those tournaments, and we just got to keep cleaning up the errors and kind of a lot of self mistakes when I was watching. They'll be like, in theory, it's fixable. It's like what we talked about with football last week. It's like, hey, if you just stop shooting yourself in the foot, you're gonna be pretty good. And I think that's what you see with this volleyball team. Like, hey, if they stop shooting themselves in the foot, like you see those stretches where they 11-1, where they play clean volleyball. Like it's like, hey, we can be something here, you know. So I think that's just where they are, and that's easier said than done. So, but you see some good moments for sure, and I'm excited to see some really tough matchups coming up this week that they're probably going to be excited to go really test themselves and get better. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, I think it was so hyped to see that atmosphere, and
I was impressed. Good job on them.
That was really cool to see, because I mean, this is their home tournament, right? Like how hype, and it's probably the first game of the tournament too, right?
It was.
So you got that. It was a sold out crowd.
Well, because they're playing a power conference team. They've been promoting it.
All of the hype was there, dude. And like for Tech to come in and say, not only are we going to beat you, but we're going to like reverse sweep with this atmosphere.
You thought
we're going to do it in this way. Damn, Tech.
That's just mean. It's just mean. It's like putting a little treat out there and then yanking it back.
That is messed up.
It's messed up. That's all it was. It was all premeditated. We did that on purpose. We wanted to give their fans a show. We walked in there and saw the crowd. They're like, hey guys, this is what we're going to do. We're going to get down 2 sets, and then we're going to reverse sweep them, make sure they get their money's worth, have fun. That's really all that happened, y'all.
I see.
That's clearly what the thing is.
The strategy. So that's what I loved to see from that game that they had. And then, yeah, the energy, the hype was there.
Yeah, it was cool. I want to see that type of. Well, it's a little easier for them to have that. It's a smaller gym, right?
Oh,
so
sure.
That many people in the USA,
But I
would
mean,
look spread out. But if we can get everybody to sit close like that, let's get that atmosphere.
Do like
in
bleachers,
Lubbock.
just like closer bleachers.
Yeah, there's probably ways to figure it out, but
Anyway,
progress. But yeah, that's what they got. And just some stats I was looking up because I just wanted to see, like, okay, so how are we actually stacking up per set against other people in the Big 12?
you're telling me about this.
We're pretty. Look, listen, if middle of the Big 12, top, portion of the third of the Big 12 that's solid for us,
That's pretty
considering
good.
we were picked to finish 15th, right? And so in the Big 12, we rank 5th in points per set. And you've heard Greystone talk about how we're doing a better job of getting points this year. You're seeing that. 6th in kills per set and 7th in service aces per set.
Okay.
We'll take that for where
Right
we
now,
are in
yeah.
our development. We're 12th out of 15 in hitting percentage, so that's kind of able to, when we hit it, we get a point out of it.
Oh,
We're either
okay.
getting an error or it's getting sent back over, like we're not scoring off of all of our attacks efficiently. And you're seeing that. And then the ones that really stick out to me, and I would love to hear a coach's perspective on this, but it stuck out to me because I'm like, oh, that explains a lot, really, if you've watched them play, is we're first in the Big 12 in digs per set. That's a good thing. That's our defense. We're digging out all these balls.
We're first in the Big 12 for digs per set. Okay.
That means when people are hitting it over, they're not scoring off the first. Yeah, we're digging it. They're really having to work. There's long rallies happening in these games.
Okay.
And we talked about that last week, that that's a good backbone to have for this team. We kind of know who we are. We're dead last. We're 15th in the Big 12 in opponent digs per set. So they're digging our shots just as often as we're digging the other teams. We're digging them up, but then we're not able to finish it. And that goes to that hitting percentage. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So if we could get a better hitting percentage, we could finish off of these digs more often. We could all of a sudden
Do you not think it's
up.
like
I don't know how
canceling it out?
It is canceling it out. That's what I'm saying. That's why we're struggling in some of these matches that we don't want to be struggling in, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's because we're digging them, but we're not able to finish them off.
Yeah.
And so these rallies just keep going. So that's what I'm saying. That to me is the I don't know the answers to like how you fix that. But it's like if we can just get a better hitting percentage and finish off on our attacks a little more efficiently. Mia's doing it. Bryn, when she gets going, she does it. But we just have to be more consistent. Like to me, is like the story of the team is just like right now, and the stats kind of say it. I'm sure they have more technical stuff, but when you watch the games, you see that there's all these long rallies where like we'll get dig after dig after dig, and we just can't finish it, and then the other team will break through, or more often than not, we finally just make our own error, and the rally ends, and the other team gets the point. So, if we can find a way to find the holes a little more, get it on the ground a little more, get it to Mia, Bryn more, Merrick, get our people attacking. I don't know the answers to that, some scheming or what, but if that's fixable, that to me is where you'll see the growth. So if we say dead last and 15th in opponent digs, we're probably not going to have the season we want. But if we stay first in digs per set defensively and we eke that number up 15th to like mid-conference, now we're cooking all of a sudden. You know what I mean? Now we can surprise some folks. Right. So that's what I saw. But it's early in the season, obviously, but I just wanted to look because it's hard to know. Like everybody's playing different opponents as well, different levels of opponents and all that. So you're going to learn a lot this weekend about them, or this week. Yeah, it's this weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. They don't have to play 2 matches in a day. Past that,
goodness,
that's tough life.
Like that's real.
Tough. Yeah, that was a really tough schedule.
That's real, especially after
tournament they had.
You travel.
It's a long ways.
Beat the team, beat the host team, and then
you're up late, and then you have to get up early
late,
the next morning and play.
Like they got the last stick,
short end of the stick.
Yeah.
I don't know why we went to that tournament. I assume it was like just an agreement because they came to ours last year, and we wanted to do the right thing and say, "Hey, we'll go to yours." But you don't see.
I have
we're nice. We're nice to do that for them. So. But put us in a tough spot. But you're going on the road to the 305 Challenge in Miami. I'm assuming that's like a brand of some kind. I don't know what that means. 305
Is that the area code?
Oh, probably so. That makes sense. Yeah, but that's Miami's area code. And you're going on the road. You're going to play some top 25 teams. You started off with Florida International on Thursday, I believe, is that September 19th at 5 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Eastern. It is all these games have a little watch ESPN link on them. So ESPN Plus, that's exciting. So FIU is a good one to start it off with, right? Both teams are probably thinking the same thing, like, hey, we need to get this win because then you're going to be playing these juggernauts after that. Not to say that they're not a solid program, but they're not receiving votes are in the top 25. And so we're probably both looking at each other the same way. And so you start off with them, and then Friday you play Miami, who was in the top 25 but lost to Ohio State this past weekend, so they dropped out. But they're still receiving votes, and they beat number 1 Texas last week in 5 sets. So
at Texas?
It might have been at Texas. I don't know. I think they were at a tournament somewhere. I don't know where it was.
But to beat Texas?
Yeah, they're the number 1 team. They were the number 1 team when they played them at that time.
That's hype.
They're the national champions, right? Aren't they like back-to-back national champions?
They're
They're good.
Yeah.
And they took them. So that's the talent that Miami has. So you're going to really get to test it, and that'll be really fun and exciting for the team. And then it doesn't really get any easier. The next day you play number 25 Arkansas at 11 a.m. Central Time on Sunday?
Yeah.
Saturday.
I got the
Saturday. So you can watch that before the football game kicks off. So yeah, I'm excited. This is one of those like go in there, nothing to lose really,
like
and
turn up in the
grab your way out.
305.
It's the opposite of those tournaments. Like this one, you were the one where everyone has the target on your back because you're Texas Tech and you're the power school, and these little schools are giving you everything they have, and it's like their Super Bowl, right? Flip the script a little bit. Now you go into Miami and getting to play Miami and Arkansas, 2 top 25 teams essentially, and Florida National's nothing to sneeze at either. So that'll be a fun one to start it off. Hopefully they can get a dub in that one, and then get a little rest. You get
a little
24 hours before you play, not 5 like they've been doing, and they get to go to town and play Miami and then Arkansas the next day. So I'm excited to watch them. I think we'll learn a lot about them. Get to see some fun. This team, one thing that has been consistent, while they're still like trying to find the consistency on the points and all that and the finishing the sets, their vibes,
they are
never
so fun to watch.
Even in those games where things weren't going, they were fighting, they were getting all those digs, and those rallies just weren't going their way. I mean, it would have been so easy to get frustrated, and they're just out there. But I think Abby Dickinson in the Houston Christian game, she got an ace, and it's like things weren't going our way, right? She gets an ace, and she's out there doing the gritty. I'm like, let's go, Abby. She's not a care in the world. Not a care in the world. I'm like, that's what I like to see. The vibes are high. They're just out there having fun, playing the sport.
Red Raider, dude.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great video. It's a great gritty as well. So yeah, they're having fun.
Seen a lot of gritties on this show, y'all.
I didn't even know the gritty was still a thing, but Abby,
I didn't either. But
it's so good at it.
It's here to stay as long as Abby says so.
It's always a thing when Abby's around. So
yeah,
she's only a sophomore, so we got some more years of it as well. So it's a signature. But that was great. We'll gift that for sure, Abby. It'll exist on the GIF universe for you guys to use once we get to it. But yeah, the vibes are high. I'm excited to watch them. That's half the battle in volleyball. We talked about that, and they should have a lot of fun over in Miami because, like I said, nothing to lose. Pressure's off.
Yeah,
just go over there and
have a good time.
Kind of shock the world, you know.
You're
if
in the
Texas
305.
Tech beats Miami or Arkansas, the volleyball world will shatter in a way that I can't wait. We might go live for a live reaction.
We need. We absolutely have to go live for live reaction.
We will. So, girls, go get us a dub and both of those.
I'm gonna do a brunch. I'm gonna do a brunch to watch the Arkansas game. We'll just when they
taking, shots of water, of course, and celebrating.
Okay, Shelby. Yeah, it's gonna be hype. The vibes are right. Clearly, this is so on par. Especially after talking to Reagan and Mia in that interview. The vibes are so there. They're there to compete, and they have such a fun opportunity to do so. So go get it done, gals. We'll be cheering y'all on. And we don't see them at home for a while, so just kind of hang tight because they'll be in Utah. Getting into
Big 12 play starts.
The Big 12 play with the University of Utah, and then BYU.
Mia's homecoming.
Yeah, that's gonna be hype. Oh my gosh,
it's gonna be hype.
Yo, the storyline is
Maybe
here. Hop on. It's gonna be
watch party for Mia West's homecoming.
Oh, that's a good idea.
We'll think about it. We'll brainstorm.
Okay, cool.
But
So
yeah,
that's what you have to look forward to with volleyball. Get on board, y'all, because that is the storyline. It is hype.
There's work to be done there, but they got the right attitude for it. You know,
They have the attitude for it. They seem coachable. And
they just gotta stay together, and it's gonna be tough games for sure, tough matches. But if they keep that attitude, I feel like they can. The goal is not to be last, right? I know that's not. We always want to be like, oh, let's go win the natty every year in every sport. But we gotta understand where we are. Is like let's try to get to the middle of Big 12 conference. They're shooting for. They're not. Don't listen to me. If y'all are watching our show, don't listen to me. Y'all are shooting for a Big 12 championship. Always do it. Shock the world. I am here for it, and I truly nothing is not possible. Nothing is impossible. It's there.
That is so true.
But for
that is so true.
A success would be like, of course, making the tournament would be a big success. And I think if you get to the middle of Big 12 play, here we go. But it's fixable. It's the own self errors that they got to fix.
I love little coach's corner with Shelby and like
anything is possible. I am not a volleyball coach, but yeah, that side of it.
I'm just over here vibing. It's hype. So
anything is possible.
It really is.
That is half the battle. Half the battle, and people want to call it cheesy, but if you stop believing that you're good enough, if you stop believing that you can win, you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose. If you don't think you belong, if they roll into Miami and think like, oh, we have no business being on this court with Miami or Arkansas, you're gonna lose not just 3-0, but it's gonna be like 25-9. You know what I mean? And they know that. They're Division I athletes. They're going to roll in there and give it everything they have. But that's half the battle.
And the swagger that they're going to have pulling
It's something that if athletes grasp that earlier in life, it changes your whole performance levels when you actually start to believe in yourself and your confidence. We've had that conversation in so many different sports.
We really have with some of the athletes.
It's in college sports, it's a really big thing because they're, 18 to 22-year-olds and they don't always believe in themselves yet. But the talent's there, and that's a lot of what coaching is. Those coaches, they're trying to get those players to tap into that and realize how good they are. Mia Wesley knows how good she is. You know what I mean?
Gosh, dude.
You know what I mean? Like, she does not lack with confidence, and that rubs off on the rest of the team. Like, that's what you want that to happen. So
when she talked about that in her interview, she's like, the influence, that we're trying to have on this team is like,
that's
you
it.
Speak up. You are transparent. You are competing. You're equal with me. There's no, like, dynamic. They are just, like, showing them.
Yeah, she's super confident, but she's not cocky at all in the way of like amongst her teammates.
I know.
She'll give it to the other team, but she doesn't seem like she thinks she's better than. I like her so much. I'm really enjoying watching her play. But yeah, that's a good point. Like if she can rub, that's what she's trying to get others to realize. Like, hey, you're good too. Like, be that, believe that.
There's a reason why we're
seeing that. So.
Mm-hmm.
That's a major step for them. So I'm excited. I'll watch them. It'll be fun to watch them. It's tough to watch games like that one because you're like, damn, we're supposed to dominate these teams, and like if you don't, everyone's like, oh dang, like you go 2-1, but everyone kind of is like, yeah, but you played too many sets and blah blah blah. But it's just an extra level of mental strain on you. But this one, nothing to lose, so go out and do it. But yeah. So catch them 3 games, 3 matches, whatever you want to call them, guys. I'm trying. Softball, real quick, and we had a little bit of breaking news while we were recording it, so I had to track it down. But we had a commit come out earlier today. Avery Howerton, class of 2026, top 100, right-handed pitcher and outfielder utility player. She committed earlier today, all-state as a sophomore at Whitesboro High School. Shout out Avery. We'll put an article out later this week on her. Like we're doing with soccer as well. And then just while we were recording it, somebody sent me a message that Sedona Miser, apologize if I'm mispronouncing it, committed as well. She is also an extra innings top 100 player of the class of 2026, a first baseman outfielder. And she is a sophomore as well. So she committed today as well. And it's about that time of year, so wouldn't be shocked if we're seeing more coming in over the next couple weeks. But we'll keep you informed. We'll put a little article out on the website for you guys at some point this week, and you're seeing soccer ones coming in. I think volleyball had one that committed earlier today as well, right when we were starting.
Here we go.
I don't have that one handy, but volleyball just had one as well, so it's that kind of year. So we'll try to keep you updated. Seeing-scarlet.com.
That's right.
But that's softball.
Oh, Okay, yeah,
Recording
are you sure?
updates.
Or should we wait 5 minutes and then we'll
There could be another one, but we'll update you next week on it. There's literally a tropical storm going on right now. Like the
Oh,
trees,
gosh, let's wrap
like
this
the tree
up.
is
Let's
touching
go.
my window. So we probably should move on to football because we don't want to not get to talk about football and
We
give them their
don't.
flowers, give them their shine because they went out and did the thing
They sure
this week.
did.
It was a lot of fun. I haven't seen a dominant win like that in a while in football.
It almost felt like
I can't even
wasn't.
think of one though.
Yeah, I was like almost saying, "Is this Texas Tech? Like this feels like it is Texas Tech football, the one that I know. That makes me happy." But is this
brings me
happening?
joy.
And it
What is
was, and
happening?
I just like, oh shit, this is. I remember this feeling of beating this team.
You have to go back a long ways.
Bam, like, and doing it in our way, and like having Taj come back and welcome him back, and then Baron Morton, like our defense, like the hype, the vibes, and
Everything
knowing
was
what
cooking.
Joey and team were coming into, with the pressures of, hey, perform kind of in this huge game for us, and they did. So it was really hype to
Stepped
see.
up.
They did.
I think that's my biggest thing is like, yeah, it's North Texas, whatever. But they had so much pressure on them. And this could have gone one of two ways, right? I think
truly
for I don't know, whatever. People can think what they want to, but we're Joey McGuire fans. We like what
Big
he's
time.
building here. And I think this is why, like, this was a sign that for anyone that maybe was like, is he good at what he does? Can he coach? Like, to have a team play the way they did at Washington State and ACU at home, really take the criticism that they took all week. Hopefully they blocked out most of it, but I'm sure they heard some of it. It's impossible for it not to get to them. Even in sitting in those post-game press conferences, the questions they're asking, they know where those questions are coming from, the origins that they're coming from of the online chatter. So they're hearing it in some way. They're on campus. They go to class with these people. There's God knows what people say to them while they're walking around campus, right? So to have that pressure on and to come out and perform in that way is impressive. I don't care who the opponent is now. We get to do it again against a Big 12 team, and they got to get that consistency and do it again. Let's do it 2 games in a row, but I'm not going to sit here and worry about the future right now. I'm just enjoying the now.
Oh,
and
hell yeah, dude.
They did the damn thing, and I was really, it was a lot of fun. It was really exciting. There were still moments where we gave up a big, that one touchdown they had in the first half was like,
I know. It was like,
80-yard touchdown run. You're like, no. But then we dominated from there out.
Hold on, whoa. Hey, hold on. Hold your horses there. And then,
and then our defense was like, okay, no. We're not doing that today.
Sorry.
So
jokes.
Yeah, it was fun. I think we scored like 3 touchdowns within a minute and a half.
It
was one of the wilder sequences I've ever seen. I almost felt bad for North Texas, like genuinely, because they're coached by Eric Morris, former receiver.
Like the
they
Red
have
Raiders
a lot of our former Red Raiders, and I was like, guys, I really feel bad for you, but like we needed this.
Yeah.
So
thank you for your sacrifice.
I can't really feel bad for you. Like you'll be fine. You're just 2-1 now. It'll be okay.
What did Eric Morris say in the press conference about it?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't watch it. Oh, is that what he said? Bless his heart.
It's no bueno. And I go, literally, say less.
See.
Like, that is it. And I was like,
yeah, there's nothing you can say about that. Like,
but I mean, like,
I felt
North Texas, they kept showing up from what I could remember of watching of the game. But yeah, huge to see different people stepping up in these moments. Who was it that caught your eye?
I mean, everybody had a good game, really. When you don't have to play your starters in the second half, you've done well.
You're doing something right.
Baron Morton had his best game of his career.
Oh, cool.
Statistically, you could probably find like a game against a Big 12 opponent where it's like, hey, the statistics might not have been as good, but it was against, you know what I mean? But statistically graded out, it was literally the best grade he's ever gotten from PFF, 90 quarterback grade. He had an 98.1 QBR in the game. He went 15 for 19, 273 yards with 4 touchdowns and no turnovers.
No turnovers.
Yeah, that's big. And then a big talking point last week. Everyone was like, "Is Baron's shoulder okay? What's going on?" Because he couldn't. His something about the stats on his throws over 10 yards at Washington State, where he was like 2 of 8 or something like that.
Okay.
Wasn't great.
Okay, sure.
This week he was 6 of 8 for 210 yards and 3 touchdowns on passes that were 10 yards or more downfield. So he answered that question, which if you watch the Washington State game, he was chunking it a long ways. It just wasn't accurate. So it wasn't anyway. But I understand the concern given his injury history. So that was a lot of talk, and so for him to go out there and do that, and they were good throws. They were small window throws. Out there and some of them, I think the Court Eakin one, he kind of just got behind the defense, but the rest of them, he had to make really good throws, and he was moving, and when there was pressure on him, he handled it well, and I feel like he really likes having Taj back there. I think they have a good rapport, and Taj is actually an underrated factor of Taj Brooks' game is his pass blocking. He's a great pass blocker. And so I think when he's out there, maybe that helps Morton feel a little easier. Why would it not? Every quarterback's going to feel a little better when they have their guy next to them that's going to protect them if the defense gets through. So I think that helps. And Taj was obviously great. He did what he did. Didn't have to play much because we didn't need him, which is perfect because he was coming back from an injury. And there was some question marks on if he'd play. I think after how Washington State went, he was probably like, I'm playing. I'm not sitting out. So it was good to see him out there.
Yeah.
And the blocking was insane. There was a clip going around Twitter that I watched on his touchdowns. It's a beautiful play. And I think I saw right before we started recording that Kitley said in his press conference, apparently, I can't really take credit for that. We stole it from Memphis. But the scheme, like the way it was drawn up was awesome. It had like, there was 3 tight ends in on that play, 1 on the line, I think 2 in the backfield, and the blocking was so good. It was like smash mouth football. It was what we talked about last week. It was our first touchdown in the game where I think it might have been like 3rd and or pretty long, and we just ran it, and he scored off of it without being touched from like the 13-yard line or something. And he took his mouthpiece out before he even got into the end zone. There was nobody
10
near.
yards out.
He's just like,
I kind of noticed that. I don't know if I was just seeing this because I was knowing he was coming back from an injury, but he wasn't giving it, not necessarily like 100%, but like he was so explosive and powerful that he had the time to like take his mouthpiece out. And it's almost like I can almost see him like knowing I can go 1,000,000% right now, but I am coming back from, this injury.
Well,
I feel like I can see him calculating that to best serve him because it's just it's hype because the power's there. He's such a force on the field.
He's one of the best backs in the country for sure.
He's so cool to watch. So glad to have him
he was
back.
good. I think it's just he's a senior. He's a 5th-year senior, and he's under control. The game's very slow to him. Like it's all happening very slow to him.
Kids.
It's not too sped up for him, so I think that's just what you see is like he's like, oh, this is easy, I'll just walk in here. And there's other moments where he has to run over someone. He ran over. He's under control. Taj Brooks never looks out of control. He looks like a 5th-year senior. He looks like a pro. He could have been a pro. I think he had a 3rd round, 4th round grade or something on him in the draft, and that's why he came back.
Right.
So he can improve his draft stock, but that's still a player that would be playing in the NFL. He'd be on an NFL roster right now, probably if he had gone and we have him as a back. So he's great. We need him to stay healthy. He's clearly very important to the team, not just as a running back, but for his blocking and just to make Barron feel comfortable. He has his guys back there. All the receivers looked great. Josh Kelly, I think, came into the game leading the country in receiving. I don't know if he had a ton of yards because he didn't play the whole game, but he had a touchdown. So he's having himself a year. And we'll talk. And then in the second half, we got to see Micah Hudson break out a little bit and get more runs. That was cool with the backup quarterback. Got to see a little glimpse of the future.
Oh my gosh.
We got another year and a half of Barron. Hopefully, knock on wood, stay healthy. But then you have the phenom little freshman. It's cool. Everybody was talking about Barron this way like 2 years ago. Like everybody couldn't wait to see Barron, and now Barron's our quarterback. And now we have Will Hammond. He's the highest rated quarterback in school history. Barron was like number 2 or number 3, depending on where you look. And so they were both there. But he got in the game, and he got to play some at the end of the game. He looked great. I mean, he was probably against UNT's 2nd or 3rd string, so let's keep it relative. But he looked really good, and Micah looked really good as well. So it was fun to see them get going. And then Cam Dickey looked good as well. He's a running back, which is good because unfortunately Cameron Valdez, who didn't play in this game, has been upgraded to, or downgraded, I guess, to out for the season now. He was our backup running back, which is sad for him, and a season-ending injury. But that means the freshman Cam Dickey, who looked good in the second half of this game, is going to now be our backup. So he's going to have a much more prominent role, and he's looked good out there. So,
Right.
good and bad. I feel bad for Valdez, but hopefully he'll get the red shirt because he didn't play enough and get a full year. But
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's the notes. A lot of injuries are still stacking up, and it's still
I
concerning
know.
me. But
I know those lists come out and I get so
we're moving
nervous.
forward. Yeah, we had 2 or 3 more on this new list today, so hopefully they're not serious. But that's
Sweet.
football. It's a violent
Okay.
game.
That's what it is. And who they got coming up?
They have Arizona State at home at 2:30
Okay.
Central Time, Texas time, in Lubbock. I hope y'all pack the house.
I
Wasn't
feel
quite
like
a
this is a
sellout
game where that's going to happen.
against UNT. Some of y'all
I
didn't
think-
show up.
I think the hype
So
is back.
show up. Yeah, I think everyone has the energy back. It should be fun. And that's when you need to win. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You need to beat Arizona State if you want to do what you want to do this year. So you got to win your home games, and you certainly need to beat them.
That's right.
New opponent you haven't played. I think the last time we played Arizona State was
It's going to be a bowl, right?
No, we played them in a non-con game. It did not go well. It was in the Patrick Mahomes era. I just remember they had a running back that we could
Yeah.
not stop. He had 200 yards on us. It was Balaj.
Yeah,
Caitlin
their
Balaj,
logo
maybe.
haunted my dreams.
It was a tough
after
game,
that game.
But
Mhm.
let's not let that happen. Obviously,
Yeah.
that was a long time ago, so completely different teams than then.
Well,
But
I
that's the
don't
last
know.
time I remember playing Arizona State. It was at Arizona State. It was to start the year. We were all hyped and excited. I'm pretty sure it was
Mhm.
during the Mahomes era,
Mhm.
somewhere in that Kingsbury time, and it did not go well.
We've clearly moved
This
on.
one's going to go well.
This one's going to go great. We're manifesting it
Completely
now.
different. 10 years later, we're going to take care of We're going to do
so
what they
hyped.
did to us. Taj Brooks is going to have 200 yards rushing
Oh,
at
let's
home.
go.
We're
Let's
gonna-
go.
A little karmic twist to it here. We're going to do it they did to us 10 years ago to
There you
them
go. There you
now.
go. That's
Get
what
the
it's gonna be.
dub, start Big 12 play 1-0. And
Tight.
then I think you go on the road after that. So
That's what's up.
important dub. You need this one. Go
That's
get it.
right.
Let's play
That's what
like
they're
you
gonna
did.
do.
Keep doing it. The brand. We saw the brand football. It was back.
It was back. It
The
was so
brand
nice to
was
see.
back.
We'd love to see it.
Now
And
they just get to prove that they can handle
Yeah.
the success, if you will, and go do it again. Whatever you did last week, do that again. If
Turn
you
it
need
up.
people to talk shit about you, I'm sure you can go find plenty of people that were and just listen to that again or something. Whatever motivated you guys, do that again.
And that's
We're probably not the best
Shelby's
podcast to listen to
Florida.
because we don't really. I mean, we're honest, but we're not gonna just But whatever happened,
That's right.
just make it happen.
Do the damn thing.
You
Football.
did the damn thing.
I know you will.
You
like
go do the
it's so
damn
much
thing.
fun. Love watching y'all play. Have a
Good
great
times.
time.
Everybody's getting better.
And yeah,
Stay
let's
healthy.
Win this game.
And I'm
Stay
gonna
healthy.
sign off before I blow away because there is a tropical storm. Literally, there's trees touching my window, and there's not a tree anywhere near my window, so I don't know where these limbs are coming from.
All
but
right, y'all.
we should
like
probably
and
go.
subscribe.
So,
Go to our
tell
website.
your friends, share. Hopefully, I'll see y'all next week if I'm alive. But wreck 'em.